So I just want to tell you, Dr. Glenn, I just started taking all of the nutrients that you sent me on November 1st, and I have already noticed a difference. We just had the time change where we set the clocks back an hour, and normally I am tired for 2 weeks. I know it's just an hour. We don't go into a time warp or anything, but I woke up at 6:30 this morning and just looked at my watch and was like, this is glorious. So it's the first time ever that that has happened in years and years and years. And I credit it to the brain cleanse, which is working on my brain, which it needs because I've been hit by a truck and had major concussions and brain trauma in my life. And also the noose energy, just everything. I just feel great. Not that I didn't feel great before, but I was waking up naturally at 6:30 in the morning before, let me tell you that, especially after the time change. So I just want to thank you so much for all of the wonderful things you do and the wonderful effects your products are having. And I can't wait to see what continues to happen.
Beautiful. So that's after just a couple days.
Yes, I just started taking it November 1st, and today is November 4th. So it happened that fast.
Beautiful. That's a testament to your body's readiness for reverse aging, for cleaning what needs to be cleaned out of the central nervous system. The brain cleanse opens up the lymph system to drain the equivalent of lymph in other systems, which we didn't even know about until about a dozen years ago, when the scientists discovered that, oh, when the pineal is functional and releases enough melatonin at night, not only we sleep well and we have good dreams, but it's actually opening up those channels to drain toxins out of the brain, which is kind of important for preventing all kinds of nervous system issues, from
Yeah.
Alzheimer's to macular degeneration, because the
Yes.
retina is embryologically part of the central nervous system as well. So we're using that with people where we're actually helping to reverse those kinds of damage, typically getting about a 1 year reversal in a month of this kind of program, where it's really specifically designed for that individual based on what their body is trying to heal in real time, rather than just looking at, oh, here's what's wrong with the body, or here's how the chemistry is out of balance. Let's try to, work on those things. That's great. That's one level of therapy. But I find the most profound level is actually to listen to the body and say, what is it that you're trying to do right now? That's where the energy is going. That's where when we give it the right materials, the right building blocks, the right quantum energies, like the having the energetic, like the credit card that works to buy the labor, to do the job. Having the right information to actually, to trigger turning on the healthy genes, turning off disease and stress genes. When you have and there can be stresses and impediments on any or all of those levels in different pathways, and the body's generally multitasking, working on 5 or 6 different healing pathways at the same time. And it's doing others where it has everything it needs, and those it'll get things done in days. But where it's missing some key element or combination of elements, it's like, imagine you're trying to fix your house, and you need to have the right materials on hand. Otherwise, they're out of the screws we need at ACE, so we can't get the job done today, even though we have everything else. So you need
Right.
all the materials lined up that you need. So nutrients, phytonutrients, building blocks. It's not just the essential ones that are essential according to the government, because the body doesn't really know about the government's rules and regulations. It has its own like there's a famous chemistry professor at Stanford that says we should be calling a lot of these phytonutrients longevity vitamins. Why? Because, like, say for vision, the carotenoids that we now know the body specifically, it needs them from the diet, from certain foods, and it concentrates and stores them as a light filter to protect against blue light and ultraviolet, and it's antioxidant, protective of our central vision. And if we don't have them now, we now have an epidemic of macular degeneration, the leading cause of irreversible blindness in our culture. So he says that they're not called vitamins by the government because their definition of a vitamin, a vital mineral, an organic form of some mineral combination of minerals or elements, uh, their definition is, well, if you don't have it, there's an acute deficiency disease and you could die because you don't have enough of this. Well, okay, so there's no acute deficiency disease, it's a chronic deficiency disease, and you go blind. Does that count? Not yet as far as, regulatory agencies, but as far as thinking, what my brother calls thinking chickens, if we're thinking about it, like I think we might need those.
Yeah, yeah. Well, if
And
this is what's happened in only 4 days, this is the fourth day. I can't imagine how I'll feel in 30 days. Like, forget about it. I'll be doing jumping jacks and cartwheels down the middle of the street.
I think that kind of response we're seeing so much of in the past decade where for 40 years, I've been working with people individually, uh, formulating the program specifically for each person based on what their body responds to by going into a state of coherence, equivalent of an acupuncture treatment, where for a day or two after an acupuncture treatment, your body's in total energetic balance. If we measure electronically the electrophysiology, and so now you're taking the remedies every day, and your body's in that balanced state where it has everything it needs to get whatever it is it needs to get done. It's getting it done in hyperspeed. Like when we see spontaneous remission from things like cancer, it's often within 3 days. Even if it's metastatic cancer, all the tumors are gone. But it's with a high speed healing, there'll be a high fever typically in that kind of situation because of a change in terrain and there's bacteria in the system that are making enzymes that are helping break down the tumors. We've known that for 500 years, that bacterial enzymes can break down tumors, but if they do it too fast, then you die from the toxins that are in the tumor. So we don't want to push it. They stopped that research, in the Middle Ages because half of the people were healed, but half the people died.
Right.
So, okay, we can't, yeah, it's a trade-off.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
when it's our natural microbiome and our body's immune system working together, that's when we see spontaneous remission. So yeah, so when we started formulating our own products and putting in all of the synergists that we know about, that this person responds well to this herb and this one needs this nutrient. We look in the medical literature. Oh, we know that there's some, when you really start researching it, there's so many factors. I call it God's pharmacy. It's a cornucopia of things that our genetic history has always relied on in different herbs in different parts of the world, and there's amazing healing properties out there. And we combine them all together, and knowing that it's the body's response to them. It's not just that we're forcing the body to change with a chemical input from the outside, whether it's a nutrient, natural nutrient or a drug, but it's when you have the right thing, the body responds and it increases its own healing activity. So since we've switched to these more comprehensive, and we make sure they're clean and more, as concentrated as possible, so nobody likes taking 20 pills a day, but most of these are effective at one capsule a day, as you've been.
Yeah. It's just one capsule a day of each one, and then you have the drops. And I take the brain release before a half hour before I go to bed, and I sleep great. I've had very vivid dreams, nice dreams, not crazy dreams.
Yeah. Dreams, a lot of people don't realize dreams can be super productive for our waking life. We can be actually working out, the creative possibilities of what it is we're trying to solve in our daily life. Like there's a tribe, a famous tribe that was studied for their dream work, the Sinoi, and their culture looked at dreams as, sort of a portal to success in life,
Right.
where you'd seek out, like if you faced an adversary in the dream, when you defeat it, you'd ask it for a gift, a present, and whatever it is it would give you, maybe it's a song or a poem, where you'd manifest that in the real world when you wake up. or
Ah,
some physical thing, an art, some form, artistic form, and you'd create that in the real world. And very, very powerful to integrate those two, it's like a third of our life that we're sleeping.
yes,
Find out
yes.
in our
Yeah.
culture, there's all these
And do you
reasons
think
why
your brain might
blue
be trying to
light.
tell you something during those 8 hours? Yeah.
We have all this, we have our Wi-Fi left on at night. That's shutting off the pineal function because it's an electromagnetic receptor like the eye. And now we have all this, we have a quadrillion times more electromagnetic fields, man-made, not, these are stressful fields that are great for computers, not great for the brain,
Right.
that we're imposing on the brain while we're trying to sleep. So turn off the Wi-Fi. Don't turn on white lights, nor ordinary lights at night. That's why we make special red night lights that are biocompatible, that don't shut off the pineal. Because just opening the refrigerator for a second, that white light exposure will turn off the pineal, often for an hour or two, or even for the whole rest of the night. So don't
Really?
white lights. We have
Really?
biocompatible night lights. Can plug one in the hallway and in the bathroom for navigation at night to be safe. Uh, and we have a therapeutic red night light that's special LED, like a soft laser frequency that's designed. It's a frequency that will, how a flashlight will go through your hand and you'll see
Yeah.
red. And imagine in the womb, that's the color that we all see when we're growing and developing. In greenhouses, they'll use a red light chamber for optimal plant growth. It's a womb-like environment. In fact, you look at people who are studying cosmology, the alternative hypothesis that makes the one that makes sense versus the conventional consensus that we have no clue, we have no idea what 95% of the universe is. It's dark matter and energy because we have these assumptions about how things work, and therefore there must be this missing energy, and they have had no progress in that field in 40 years with all the research money from our taxes to find the occult, dark, hidden energy and matter. No, they're barking up the wrong trees. But love explaining, what the reality is. It's a living universe. They think there's dark matter because galaxies don't move right according to what we think is happening out there, because
Right.
we think it's all based on gravity. It's not moving based on gravity, it's moving based on energy, on electromagnetism. Electromagnetism is everything other than gravity. And obviously gravity, to some of us, obviously gravity is somehow electromagnetic. We just don't understand it. And there's models of that. But the physicists, all the physicists know, they learn in school that our current understanding of gravity is completely incompatible with electromagnetism. But we're going to try to stick with it and say we think the universe is operating based on that. But it's not operating electromagnetically because we can't see electricity in space except, stars.
Right, right,
Plasma,
right,
that's electromagnetic.
right.
And see connections between the stars that and the magnetic fields of the stars on those connections all line up. Well, that happens when there's electricity, but we can't see, we can only measure electricity in space if we send a space probe out there. So they're spiritually blind. They cannot see the electricity in space because they don't believe it. They've been taught that there is no electricity in space. It's a vacuum. There can't be electricity in space. So the solar wind, it's a solar wind. It's not a solar electricity. Oh, but it's ions from the sun. Ions carry electricity, the charged particles. It's like
Right. Well, listen, I just wanted to tell you that I feel great, and my brain has wanted to reverse age for many years. So if this is going to help get me there, I can't
yeah,
wait to see what the results are going to be.
yeah, yeah, very exciting.